All right, CNT140, we are working on our phone cabling lab. In the first part of the lab, we made our phone patch cable. And as we saw, it's pretty simple, it's pretty easy. This is more just for familiarity, just so you recognize a little bit about the phone cabling and the pin out and etc. So you have that. Again, make sure I see that that's working. Either show me the cable and the cable meter in the lab room or take a picture of it to make sure it gets submitted on D2L. That way I see that your cable is working. Now that we move on to the second part, we're going to take this phone cable and we're going to use it. So in the second part of the lab, we're going to take that phone patch cable, hook it up to an analog phone that we have in the lab room, and we're going to connect that phone to our router that I'm going to show you in the side closet. There's a small business router that actually has built into it phones for analog, or ports for analog phones, FXS, foreign exchange station ports that we can plug our phones into. So we'll grab two. We'll grab one analog phone and plug your patch cable into the FXS 0 port, and we'll grab another phone and maybe your lab partner's phone patch cable, and we'll plug into the FXS 1 port. Look carefully on that. Those are the far right RJ11 ports that you'll see on the router. Once I do that, obviously I need to power up the router, let it boot, and then I will console in with my PuTTY connection, and I should get to a router prompt. Once I'm there, we're going to put some basic config on here to get these phones hopefully ringing. So let's do a configure terminal here. Actually, we'll do our enable. We'll do our config T. Once we're here, let's give this thing a host name. Let's do voice router. After we do that, we're going to need to enable our telephone service or telephony service. So we're going to say telephony service. I'm using the tab key here to shorten my commands. If you see my command popping up there quickly. We're not going to use a command called dial plan pattern, which actually specifies the phone, basically the phone number system we're going to be using. So we're going to say dial plan pattern. I'm going to use the number 1 because I might have multiple dial plans for calling different locations. So we're going to say dial plan pattern 1, and then we're going to plug the phone number in, 717-221, and we're going to say ... indicating that this will be, excuse me here, I missed a digit in there, 717-221, 2 ... There we go. Meaning we're going to use the 717-221, 717 area code 221 exchange, and then 2 ... would be the local station numbers. We're then going to use the command on the end here, extension length 4, meaning, let me widen this a little bit so you can see the whole command there. Oops. Extension length 4, that's going to say, hey, my extension numbers will be the last 4 digits. So actually, it cut it off there for you, but here's the dial plan pattern 1, 717-221, 2 ... extension length 4. That's my full command. We'll then say exit, and that kind of sets the overall phone pattern for this network or this site, if you will. Let's now configure our phones. We're going to configure a phone for James Kirk, and then we're going to configure one for Montgomery Scott. So let's do voice port, and we're going to say 0/0/0. Now, where that number is coming from, if you look right below the cable you have plugged in, the phone cable you have plugged in the router, you'll see off to the side it says 0/0, and then right below it is port 0, then port 1, then port 2. So we're doing 0/0, and then we plugged into the 0 port, so the last digit here is 0. So voice port 0/0/0. We're going to say this guy is description, James Kirk desk phone. That's just a description so we know what it is. Now we're going to do station ID. Again, we're going to say name James Kirk. That way we know it's James Kirk's phone. We'll do station number, station ID number, and we'll give it 717-221-2001. And we're going to set this to ring at a certain pattern, ring cadence. We're going to say on this one, pattern 05. Okay? And I'll show you the next time we configure where I'm getting that from. So that's my first phone. Let's now do the second phone. We're going to do Montgomery Scott. So we'll say voice port. And again, we'll do 0/0/1. And if you look at the second port in from the right, that's the one port. So it's 0/0/1. For this one, we need description. We're going to do Montgomery Scott desk phone. We want to do station ID on this one. Station ID, we need to do, first one, this one is name, Montgomery Scott. Now we need station ID number. So this one needs to be 717-221-2002. And ring cadence. All right, well, if I do a question mark here, you'll see all the options. And if I pick, previously I picked pattern 5, which was 1 second off, 1 second on, and 5 seconds off. So ring for a second, then a 5-second break. So in this one, I said, let's pick a different one down here. This will be a different pattern, ring pattern 11. So we'll do on this one pattern 11. So that'll ring differently than the other phone, hopefully. All right, so we have our two phones in. Now we need a dial plan that is going to permit certain phone calls to occur. So again, telephony service. We need dial peer this time. I think I said plan. We need peer. Dial peer voice. And we'll say this is 2001 for the 2001 phone. And POT for plain old telephone system. We're going to say the destination pattern for this one. In other words, what phone calls are allowed. We're going to say 717-221... ... meaning any of those, any numbers in the 717 area code 221 exchange will be allowed to be called. And we're going to indicate that port 0/0/0. We're going to repeat this for the other, I'm going to scroll down here. We're going to repeat this for the other phone that we have. So I'm going to do up key, up arrow, telephony service. Dial peer voice 2002 this time. And we're going to say destination pattern. We're going to use the same pattern. We're allowing anything in the 717 area code 221 exchange to be called. This time the port will be 0/0/1. Okay. So we're going to do exit. We're going to do exit. And we're going to do a show run. And we should see, here's our router name. I'm going to keep going. Let's go down here a little bit further. Spacebar, spacebar, we're getting there. Okay. Now we're into our telephony service. Here is James Kirk phone. Here's Montgomery Scott phone. And then I should be seeing some dial peers down here, permitting traffic. And then here's our overall telephony service. So what I will do is I'm going to do a copy, run, start. And I'm using the tab key so I get the full commands here, because I think this guy wants the full command. And I'll hit the enter, so it's going to save that for me in case I lose power. I have my config here. So now I have enough configuration up and running on here that I should be able to pick up my phones and make some phone calls. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to lift the handset and see if I get some dial tone. I got to move my... There we go. All right, I got dial tone on that one. I got dial tone on that one. Good. So I have dial tone. Good. Now I'm going to try to make a phone call between the two phones. I'll try to pick one of them up and try to dial the other one. So let's do 717-221-2002. And I think, yeah, this is one I think that our ringer on this guy is no good. There we go. We have the phone call's working, but it did not ring. So I'm going to try a quick swap-a-roo here and see if I can grab another phone that the ringer's working. That happens every now and then. Let's try this guy here to see if we get any changes. All right, let's try this again. 717-221-2002. There we go. Now we got a ring. So now I can pick up and call. I can talk to each other. Yay! Okay. So I'm going to make sure that works first. After that, I'm going to look at some things on my router. I want to actually see some action on my router. So let's do show voice call status. And right now there's no active calls, so it's not going to have anything. And if I show voice call summary, again, there's going to be nothing. Everything's on hook. So there's nothing calling or no active phone calls. So that's kind of my default state. Well, let's get a phone call going again. And I'm going to leave it running. 717-221-2002. So I'm going to take that off hook. It's off hook now. And I'm going to leave that call going. And now I'm going to reissue those commands that I had previously. Show voice call status. I should now see that there's an active call. See if I can get that to show a little wider for us. There we go. It now shows that these two phones are talking to each other. The 000 port and the 001 port are calling each other and talking. If I do the show voice call summary, I should also see that these two phones are off hook. They're connected to each other. So they're actually calling and talking. All right? So this was really just kind of a fun way to check that our phone cable was working. I'm going to return my phones to their receivers over here, to their cradles. If you want to make another couple phone calls and do some more summaries and active calls and so forth, go for it. What we'll do at this point, though, to make sure we get proof of this part of the lab completed, we're going to do a show run and copy that and save it into a text file to submit to D2L. So I'll do a show run, and I'm going to do a space bar a couple times. And what I really want to see down here is this part here. So make sure you get far enough to show it all. I'm going to scroll up. And while I'm at it, I think... Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I think I'll scroll up and scroll down because it's not wanting it to go down. Alright, I'm going to do the show voice call. Over here, here's voice call summary. Here's voice call status. There we go. I'm going to highlight those and I'm going to go down to the end. I'll copy those in there too while I'm at it. So do a Control-C to copy. I'll open my notepad. And I'm going to paste this in here. I'll give this something like CNT140, phone, cable, lab, something of that nature. And I'll paste that in. I really just want to see the router config. But if you have these in here as well, that's pretty awesome too. You have the active, the status as well as the summary. That'd be awesome too. I'll save that. I'll save that to my 140 here folder. Or I'll replace the one that's there, phone router config. Leave it as .txt and I'll save. That file you want to make sure you get submitted to D2L. So real quickly here, down here, you want to make sure you show me your phone patch cable. Show that it's working. Either show me in the lab room with a meter or take a picture. And then make sure you have saved the router config into a text file. And then get both of those submitted to D2L, or get your, I should say, if you took a picture, make sure the picture and the router config gets submitted to D2L. If you showed me the patch cable, great. Then just make sure you get the router config submitted to D2L. So in D2L, I would go to the Dropbox here and make sure on the phone cable lab that you get that file submitted. Before we're done with the router, once we have all that, we're going to do an erase start, and I'm going to do erase startup config. I'm going to confirm that. That's going to erase anything in memory, so when I power the router down, it'll come up clean the next time, and none of my config will be there. So there is your phone cabling lab for 140.